Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, Riruako describes 2019 elections as most polarized and challenging since independence. Appointment of Hansa Himarwa threatens SWAPO credibility, says NUDO. Taxi driver nabbed for robbery. And World Ministries launch gospel campaign for Africa.
Renowned political analyst and author Jose Rebroadcast recently launched his book titled 2019 Elections were the most polarized and challenging since independence. The book highlights various issues that influenced the 2019 elections, such as the independent candidate Panduleni Itula, as well as tribal politics. The book launch attracted prominent figures in Namibia's political landscape, as well as academics from various institutions. Rebroadcast delivered a synopsis of his book, where he scrutinized the impact the independent presidential candidate Panduleni Itula had on the ruling party SWAPO during the 2019 elections.
The issue of the independent candidate caught all the political parties by surprise. In fact, it caught many of them with their bets halfway down. It's something that they were not prepared for. Dr. Itula, as a Namibian, and anybody for that matter, has the right, as per the Constitution, as part of your due process, to assemble or to run for any position. It's his or her right. It's enshrined within the Constitution, right? But then his party, SWAPO, was in comfort zone for a long time because this provision was not challenged for years. So they didn't know what to expect. And I think the doctor was a bit tactical also. So the party was caught between a rock and a hard place. What do we do with this situation? Then the party decided to approach a do-nothing approach, because any other decision was costly. The party didn't have a legal leg to stand on. And now can I talk about NUDO and everybody else? Your constitutions, I don't think they too have the same level of preparedness. I think everybody will now opt for a constitutional change or political party constitution or whatever law change within their parties to try to address the element of an independent candidate.
Landless People's Movement representative Dominga Ndala shared her views on tribal politics during the elections, and she cautioned how it could lead to a civil war if it becomes institutionalized by political parties.
The doctor spoke about tribal politics in your book. According to my understanding, or I don't know, a lot of Namibian political analysts, they define tribal politics because I'm an Oswamba speaking person and I support Dr. Itula, the independent candidate, and then they feel like I'm being tribal. But when we look at it at the greater picture, I think people support a certain candidate because obviously their policies or ideologies resonate with them, or maybe that specific party or candidate actually has ideologies that reflect our aspiration. So I think we should actually be very careful in that aspect, because when I look at Galtoon violence, the triangle violence, there is violence, perception, and and peace. So I think once we institutionalize tribalism, that could lead to violence, and then obviously a civil war might erupt in Namibia, like what the president is actually saying. So I think we need to unpack what is actually tribalism when we look in terms of politics.
The Secretary General of the National Unity Democratic Organization, Joseph Kawandenge, also contributed to the discussion, where he accused the old political guards in power of allegedly plundering the resources of the government at the expense of the youth and their future.
When should the younger generation, or for how long should they wait until the elders plunder and eat and leave them with nothing? Because my problem when we are at this discourse is not about the issues that you raise. But I think we have lost the moral compass of this nation. And that's why the country is in a mess in which it is.
The book is available for purchase at Radical Books, situated at 40 Shonline Street, Windhoek West.
The Spark Green Tech sale is back with products priced to go. So don't miss out on incredible deals like Bracoma Pronucho for only $33.99 and 1 litre Spark fruit juice for just $13.69. The Spark Green Tech sale ends 22 March, so don't miss out.
The National Unity Democratic Organization NUDO at a recent press briefing in Windhoek questioned the ruling party's priorities for allowing a member of parliament and former education minister Katrina Hansa-Imarwa to remain on the National Assembly list after being found guilty in the court of law. The NUDO Youth Wing Acting Secretary General said that Katrina Hansa-Imarwa's appointment onto the legal committee of the parliament is lawful, but in the eyes of the masses, it is wrong to allow someone with a criminal record to be a lawmaker in the country.
SWAPO has shown clearly that they don't give a damn about what the public cry on or what is the issue of the public. They don't give a damn about it. It's just a clear testimony that they don't advocate for public interest. They are here to enrich their own comrades, to ensure that Katrina has another life after 5 years. To distinguish whether do we really have separation of powers between the legislature, the judiciary and the cabinet. If you have a member of parliament who is a criminal serving in the legislature, if you have an executive cabinet who 100% of the executive cabinet serve in our legislature, and either way, the executive also plays a role in a judiciary system, because remember that judges are appointed by the head of state. The head of state is the chairperson of the cabinet. So it will bring us back to question whether do we really have a separation of power. Honorable Katrina Imarwa is appointed to serve in a certain parliamentary committee, but now we are questioning the validity of it. But we forgot that Katrina Imarwa, currently she's an honorable member of parliament, so she has a right to serve in any parliamentary committee. So the issue in question is the law.
The NUDO Youth League leadership believes that to avoid a similar situation in the future, the law should be amended.
A conviction is enough for a person to be disqualified, even if the dishonorable member is given an option of a fine. It's higher time we revisit our constitution and re-amend it more in details, as amending the above mentioned provision will be for good governance and transparency. In its current form, our laws just motivate members of the August House to misuse their powers and their positions because they fear nothing, as in the end they will remain members if they are to be convicted with an option of a fine. Having someone with a criminal record or any conviction to serve in parliament as a lawmaker is very unpleasant to start with.
Katrina Hansa-Imarwa is set to be sworn in as a member of parliament later next month after President Hage Geingob takes office for his second term on the 21st of March 2020. Other lawmakers from the ruling party that resigned after facing charges late last year were removed from the parliamentarian list and remain in custody.
I've booked your shower, sir.
Bringing the world together through Dubai. Fly Emirates, fly better.
A taxi driver during the day and a robber at night appears to be the daily routine of a young man who was recently apprehended by the Windhoek City Police. A taxi driver was arrested in connection with a robbery thanks to the Windhoek City Police's swift response. According to Jerry Shikesho, the suspect is a repeat offender and has been involved in multiple robberies near the University of Namibia and the Namibia University of Science and Technology.
We have been looking for this taxi. In total, as I'm talking now, we have about 8 cases of robbery. But then we have been looking for the taxi. But what makes things difficult was that, we know we have this number. This number is legitimate. Now what these guys do during the day, they go somewhere and they take off the original number and they put a fake number on, and that's then just to do robbery. And after that, when they go and right after the evening or so, then they replace it with the original number.
The Windhoek City Police is in the process of implementing stricter taxi registration procedures to reduce the number of robberies involving taxis.
We are busy reorganizing so that we cannot allow this number to be duplicated anywhere. It must be a license holder and it must be registered they should just be warned that we are looking at all the methods on how to get on them, and we will do so in due course.
The suspect, according to Shikesho, was accompanied by 2 men that are currently at large. The driver is in police custody while investigations continue.
Get superhero savings on character at PEP. Like kids' onesies for only $89.99. And character slippers at just $59.99. We've got character covered. Only at PEP. Lowest prices by far.
Ministries and churches from around the world have come together to host a One God, One Day, One Africa gospel celebration in Africa.
We're going to blanket the entire continent of Africa with the gospel of Jesus Christ.
The One God, One Day, One Africa celebration is a 4-day gospel event simultaneously taking place in all 54 countries across Africa, with local evangelists scheduled to preach in their respective countries.
So we have in every country of Africa in May this year, from 28 to 31, one gospel outreach or campaign. We call it Celebrate Africa. Because we want to celebrate Africa, we want everyone to know that Jesus Christ is Lord of Africa. It's international ministries from America, Australia, Europe. It's international ministries from Africa. So we had yesterday a wonderful meeting with leaders of this wonderful country, Christian leaders of denominations, churches. We informed them, and I believe I can say here as representatives, we are all on board, standing shoulder to shoulder, not for America, not for Asia. We are standing for Namibia, we are standing for Africa.
The event is a celebration of Africa, which will lead up to the Pentecost Sunday of May the 31st, 2020, where participating organizations will host a miracle festival in the African country of their choice.
We have asked ministries to come on board for Namibia. In just about the next 2-3 days, we will introduce the ministry that wants to adopt or take responsibility. And I believe within the next 10 days or mostly 2 weeks, They will then talk together with the churches, with the leadership, the different denominations, and then they will finalize the place, the venue, and everything. So far, the date is set, because the date is set all over Africa. It's going to be from 28 to 31. It's Pentecost weekend.
The campaign will be live streamed and broadcast on television and radio in each country.
For one woman, a crippling lack of self-confidence led to a secret addiction that overshadowed her entire life.
If you should see any woman who is in this clutches of alcoholism, don't hesitate to direct that person to me so that I can share the story with the person.
Kenyan hip-hop artist Jim Watt, who was hooked to the bottle for 5 years and is now 5 years sober.
50 Cent says, just a little bit, not too much.
Wow, I love that. Addiction kills, recovery heals.
That's totally something I've been through.
In other leading stories, Mobile Telecommunications Limited MTC has set its eyes on providing low-cost houses to the homeless and targets to hand over close to 270 houses in the next 2 years. In 2018, MTC sponsored an amount of 700,000 Namibia dollars to the Shack Dwellers Federation through the Buy a Brick project to build 20 houses. To date, 15 of the 20 houses have been completed and handed over to proud homeowners. A total of 10 houses were handed over in Okongo, 5 in Helau Nafidi, and 5 nearing completion at Marienthal for handover in the next few months. Last year, MTC again made a joint donation in collaboration with Huawei to the tune of 10 million Namibia dollars to the same project. The amount is expected to see over 250 houses built, and this time all with internet connectivity, courtesy of MTC. The 250 houses will be spread amongst 9 regions, namely Irango, Otjadon-Jupa, Ohangwena, Kunene, Oshana, Zambezi, Kavango West, Omusati and Hartap regions. It is estimated that there is over 308 informal settlements in Namibia with a staggering 228,000 shacks accommodating about 995,000 people in urban areas. And Pupkewitz Megabuild and Kaap Agri Namibia donated 30,000 Namibia dollars towards the transportation of animal feed from South Africa to the Namibian Farmers Drought Relief Fund as it continues its support to distressed farmers affected by the drought. The donation is in response to an article that appeared in a local daily which highlighted the negative impact of the drought on the families of farmers, where some have had to take their children out of school due to the lack of funds. Last year, Pupkewitz Megabuild and Kaap Agri Namibia joined the government, non-profit organizations and other members of the business community by contributing drought relief aid to assist affected individuals caused by the drought situation in the country. Through this initiative, the company donated 11 truckloads of feed to farmers in the south of the country.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. The Ministry of Environment and Tourism has made significant strides in its efforts to combat human-wildlife conflict by constructing the new Etosha National Park boundary fence. The launching ceremony of the electrified fence took place at the Etosha National Park and was inaugurated by Minister Boamba Shifeta over the weekend. Joseph commended those that are taking part in upgrading the fence and urged them to continue doing the right thing. Damonongenda said the minister has done well and hopes that others will do the same. Nambau said the number of cabinet ministers might be reduced later next month. Titus only said that Boamba Shifeta has done well. Tobias said a leader should be able to demonstrate that he can also do the job. The Students' Union of Namibia SUN recently released a statement in which they stated that the structure of the famous College of the Arts of Namibia is failing its students because it still falls under the Ministry of Basic Education, Arts and Culture. It has said the institution should simply be closed down. Lapazi said the future leaders of the nation need help in arts and culture. While Ellen asked why one of the leaders was involved in this matter too. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
Next on Family Affairs.
There were three guys, friends, family, and ladies and gentlemen, there were calls for them to come together.
But now I'm busy with the wife who they say there is things that we have to sort out before we get to those guys, because there's a lot of issues that gotta sort out. That's the whole thing. So all those guys are just busy calling me and telling me that we have to be there. So, but they have to chill. What the hell?
Oh, hi people, it's time for a Holy Ghost party.
Showing today on One Cubed, Niger.
Oh yeah, now I know everything works for my good. I live my life for the gospel. We give the glory to God alone, to God alone.
Call your friends to come join in. This is One Cube Niger, the home of one world, one hope, One Cube Niger.
A look at the weather forecast. First, a warning from the Windhoek Met Office. Heavy storms with hail and strong winds are expected in the Omusati, Ohangwena, Oshana, Oshikoto, Kavango and Otathon-Jupa regions at places spreading to the central and southern parts on Saturday. Showers and thundershowers are also expected over the central and southern coastal areas at places, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibian interior partly cloudy and hot in the extreme northwest, the Karas and parts of the Hartap regions. Elsewhere partly cloudy and warm to hot with isolated thundershowers, but scattered to widespread thundershowers in the northern regions at places. Windy weather will prevail in the interior.